the honor of ending their political blather, their tired cliches and bureaucratic jargon, and begin to talk straight about everything: the country, the issues, transgender identification and affirmation, whatever it may be, certainly about the threats we face in this country, whether from within or foreign enemies. And the overriding reality. The reality is that our federal government is attacking any citizen now, all of us who believe differently than the puppet president, the Marxist Dems party, and their colleagues, and even the corporate media. We're all now under attack from them as never before by our own federal government. At least once it was ours, we the people, but that's no more. Now it's controlled by the Marxist Dems, the deep state, every department, every agency. And I'm speaking truth to you folks, straight truth. It's tough to take, but it is the reality we live in. We're living in the midst of a political crisis and a societal chaos we've never experienced. Our first response must be to speak truth to one another, to insist that we all speak plainly, all of us, or as many of us as can be persuaded, and we all must be prepared for the consequences of speaking the truth. I've experienced those consequences, and they're not always easy. But consequence or not, we must first be honest with one another, particularly in these times. That's our commitment to one another if we're to save this republic, if we're to restore integrity to our elections and fight back against the Marxist Dems who right now believe they've won the battle for our future. And let's be honest, they're very close to being right. The corrupt Biden regime is in league with the Marxist Democrat Party, and they've been politically persecuting President Trump for more than 8 years, without consequence, without accountability. The Biden regime and the deep state have been holding hundreds of January 6 Trump supporters hostage in the D.C. gulag for more than 3 years, many without trial, without even a trial date, abusing those prisoners of this deep state, waging war against patriots and anyone who's not a Marxist tool or an outright damn fool. Attorney General Merrick Garland is, by a large margin, the most corrupt attorney general in our country's history. Garland, who waited 2 years to bring prosecutions against President Trump for the sake of putting those prosecutions in line with the 2024 election, to assure maximum interference in the 2024 presidential election. He conspired and coordinated prosecutions in Georgia, New York, D.C., manufactured a phony special counsel, brought 4 criminal indictments of President Trump to assure higher odds that at least one bogus prosecution. Garland, the Department of Justice, doing the bidding of their Marxist Dem masters, interfering with the election, doing their best to destroy Trump at any cost, to imprison him, to stop President Trump anyway, by any means. This now is Garland on CNN this week, denying his political motivations, his abject political corruption.
Look, we have reasserted and clarified the norms of this Justice Department. We follow the facts and the law wherever they lead. Politics is not a part of our determinations. It would be improper, and it's not. The department has regulations about the appointment of special counsels, and we follow those regulations. In each case, we have appointed people who are formerly veteran career prosecutors, whatever their current position is.
And they're sufficiently independent from you believe?
Yes, and the regulations make them independent from me. With respect to the public, I hope they will see, not only from what we've done, but from the outcomes of the cases and the way in which special counsel have proceeded, that we have kept politics out of this.
Garland even admits he wants to stop Trump at any price, and he doesn't care about Department of Justice rules, legal convention, or the law itself. And Garland shredded the Constitution in his own conscience long ago. He makes it clear he doesn't care about fairness or due process. Garland wants a, quote, speedy trial, no matter how close to the election it would get.
The department has policies about steering clear of elections. Is there a date in your mind where it might be too late to bring these trials to fruition? Again, to stay out of the way of the elections, as the department policies.
Well, I just say, what I said, which is that the cases were brought last year. Prosecutor has urged speedy trials, with which I agree. And this is now in the hands of the judicial system, not in our hands.
Merrick Garland is a disgrace, and unfortunately so is the entire Department of Fellow Travelers that he oversees. There is no two-tier system of justice in America. We all have to get used to that understanding. This is not a two-tier system of justice in America. There is no justice at all. And all of us need to understand that tragic reality, a reality that we as citizens must confront and fundamentally transform. From the evil of this administration to the restoration of American law and order to justice for all, the fight is for the soul of this great nation and for a brighter American future. And what did the corrupt Department of Justice do today? Well, Attorney General Merrick Garland is calling for presidential assistant Peter Navarro to be imprisoned after a Marxist Dem D.C. jury found Peter guilty of contempt of Congress, refusing to comply with a subpoena from the January 6th committee because he asserted executive privilege on the order of President Trump. And of course, Hunter Biden did the same thing. But guess who got another sweetheart deal and is free tonight? Without fear, there's no two-tier system. There is only this corrupt justice system that Joe Biden, the Marxist Dems, and the deep state have brought to us. Only days away now, the New Hampshire primary, the first primary of the 2024 election season. President Trump riding high, winning the Iowa caucuses by a record margin, his poll numbers rising in New Hampshire, and Nikki Haley's are declining. But no matter, the Republican establishment is still doing everything it can possibly do to prop up Haley, whose campaign is backing off their once optimistic claims that they would win. Now they're telling reporters they expect to be a strong second. After her poor showing in Iowa, even that projection looks wildly optimistic. But Rhino Paul Ryan is still in there pushing Nikki Haley, who betrayed President Trump and conservatives during his tenure as Speaker of the House, emerging in Davos to just gush about Nikki Haley.
Look, a lot's going to happen between now and November. Nothing's linear in politics these days. There's a zigzag, so who knows is the point. Biden is so weak that even Donald Trump polls ahead of him. But look at Nikki Haley's polling. I mean, she beats him by like 12 points in head-to-head polls. So right. I would prefer a candidate who I think would be a good president and who I know is going to win. And by the way, give us more seats in Congress. That's Nikki Haley. Well, obviously, my preferences aren't bubbling through the Republican Party right now. But let's just wait and see what happens in New Hampshire and see if this inevitability narrative, which has credence now coming out of Iowa, if it sticks past New Hampshire. And if Nikki Haley wins New Hampshire, then I think we got a race in our hands. So I want to wait and see what happens there.
Oh, wait away. What a silly person, Paul Ryan. If you listen to people like him or the Marxist Democrat media, you'll hear that Nikki Haley is just doing boffo in New Hampshire. The question is, compared to what or to whom? Certainly not to President Trump, and that's really the only name that matters. The fact is, Nikki Haley is still down by now 16 points. The reason her gap with President Trump has risen is because New Hampshire knows who they really want, despite the fact they have an open primary, which means that voters who aren't registered Republican can vote in the Republican primary. Read Democrats and independents can do that. That would include, of course, those voters and voters who have traditionally voted Democrat have a real shot at, influencing the numbers, but not probably the outcome. The state refers to them as undeclared votes, and they account for just about 40% of the electorate in the New Hampshire primary. President Trump pointed that out in a rally earlier this week. Here he is.
Nikki Haley is counting on Democrats and liberals to infiltrate your Republican primary. By the way, what's that all about? You're the only one. You're the only one. That's Sununu, I guess, right? The most overrated governor. He's no longer a popular governor. The people behind Nikki Haley are pro-amnesty, they're pro-China, they're pro-open borders. You know, she wants open borders, don't kid yourself. Pro-war, and they're pro-Biden, because those are the people that are sending them. Biden people are coming in. They have Biden stuff, and they're coming in to register and to vote in your primary.
Well, Democrats deciding what will happen in New Hampshire. Let's hope that certainly is not so. I love the fact that Governor John Sununu, who's just a snarky, nasty mess of a governor, backing Nikki Haley by trashing President Trump. That's a regrettable way to operate, but there he is. And commenting on the state's open primary, CBS News accusing President Trump of spreading, oh no, not misinformation, disinformation, unfounded claims, they said. The outlet added that Trump's closing message, quote, contains falsehoods and pushes misinformation. CBS News, oh, for crying out loud. What in the world has gotten into these Marxist media types? Well, joining us now is Citizens United President David Bossie, also President Trump's former deputy campaign manager, and he's out with a new op-ed in the Daily Caller entitled "The Primary is Over." David Bossie joins us now. David, great to have you here, my friend.
Thanks for having me back, Lou. It's really good to be with you.
Well, I like that. And it's delightful to have you here. I have to ask you, what are we doing here when we've got Republicans pushing Nikki Haley, who has only the major support of the Democrats and the establishment? That's a sorry tale for them to tell, isn't it?
It really is, and it's not going anywhere, Lou. What you just described is immaterial. Paul Ryan, no one in America today knows who Paul Ryan is. He's unimportant in our primary process, thankfully. He is supporting, Mitt Romney in a skirt in Nikki Haley. That's what he's doing. And so we all know it. No one cares what Paul Ryan thinks, to be quite honest. What we are seeing, let's just talk about Sununu for a second. The governor of Iowa did not endorse Donald Trump, and the evangelical leaders in Iowa, some of them endorsed Ron DeSantis, and it did not matter. It is not going to matter that Governor Sununu endorsed Nikki Haley. It is not going to matter that Paul Ryan is singing her praises. This is Donald Trump's party. He is the leader of this party. This primary is over, and it is going to be over on Tuesday night in New Hampshire definitively. Donald Trump's going to win by double digits. And I just find it'll be embarrassing if people want to continue to draw this out.
Well, what about Nikki Haley? What about Governor Ron DeSantis? Why aren't they following Vivek Ramaswamy and acknowledging the obvious that this is not their time, I guess is the way to put it, and the idea that further that they could be supporting Trump, building up the campaign, building momentum, and not spending money that is just a pure waste. And by the way, a waste of everybody's time when you get right down to it.
It's a waste of time and money. But your point, I believe, is that we need to be unified to beat Joe Biden. And that's the most important thing that really, look, you can give people one or two of these early caucuses or primaries, but you have to come together. And it will be early, historically, very early for the Republican Party to come behind their apparent nominee. And that's what I want to see happen on Tuesday night and Wednesday, is that we coalesce around Donald Trump. He is the nominee right now, whether they believe it or not. But that's the realization that they're going to have to come to. And we need to do everything we can, because your lead-in, your open to this show was so dramatic. It was so right. I'm so passionate about it and agree with everything you said. We have to save this country. The only way we're going to be able to do it is to defeat Joe Biden and pick up House and Senate seats. It's the only way we're going to get this country back on track.
And to get it on track is going to take great energy, great leadership, and all. I mean this. Would swear it on the Bible for anyone. Donald Trump is the only man I know, or woman, who could possibly lead this country back to restoration and return this nation to the greatness that has always been America. These Marxists, and they are that, they're not Democrats, they're not progressives, these are Marxists, and they're led by Marxists, and they're funded by Marxists. And the reality is, if this continues, we're going to lose the entire republic. This is an existential election, without question. And I can't imagine anyone that has paid attention even remotely to public policy in this country would vote for a man that you can't even find a single anti-communist Chinese decision he's made, a policy or initiative. I mean, look at everything he's done. It's not for America. It is either for his bagmen, or it's for our communist China or the Ukraine.
Lou, Joe Biden and his corrupt socialist cronies, they all mock "Make America Great Again." It goes to your point. Think about that for a moment. It's not that they disagree with Donald Trump on taxes or open borders or whatever. They mock Americans and voters who support America. That is, it is evidence that these people ought not be anywhere near the levers of power, let alone sitting in the White House. For them to do that, we have open borders. We have wars going on all around this country, all around the world, trying to drag our country into it. We have an economy that is just in a shambles, and we have to have leadership that is going to bring America back, and that is only Donald Trump.
I think that, and to your point, I believe that the American people right now, the majority of Americans, have made that decision on that issue you talked about. I think that is now a settled matter. I think now the issue, you use the word socialist. I think as soon as we all come to grips in terms of language, and language here is important, these are Marxists. These are people who mean to destroy the American family, the American worker. They mean to destroy small business. They mean to destroy this nation. And they are Marxists by any definition. David, I love talking to you, and I appreciate you being with us. And by the way, I liked your op-ed as well. Come back soon, will you, my friend? Appreciate it. David Boston.
Love to. Thank you.
The Biden administration's assault on President Trump has backfired badly over these many months. A record number of Americans now distrust the federal government, the weaponized government, and Colonel Tony Shaffer will be joining us next. We're going to take up the reported Marxist Dem plot to remove the Department of Defense from civilian control should President Trump be reelected. If true, number of Americans right now sitting there in Washington, D.C. need to go to jail. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all My Towels. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Welcome back. You can bet whenever the Marxist Dems accuse someone of something, you may safely say that that's a projection of the Marxists' own intentions and their likely actions. For example, when the Marxist warns that President Trump might use the military to usurp power, you can assume they're using that fear to justify their own abuse of power. And now a constellation of well-funded Marxist Dem organizations are plotting to frustrate a second Trump administration. Among them are Protect Democracy, the Institutional for Constitutional Advocacy and Protection at Georgetown University, and Democracy Forward. These organizations are tied to megadonors like George Soros, eBay founder Pierre Omidyar, and the Pritzker family, of course. They're also staffed and advised by heavy hitters like Mark Ellis, arguably the Democrat Party's most powerful attorney, sitting on the board of Democracy Forward. The Marxist Democrats looking at the upcoming presidential election the same way the D.C. foreign policy establishment looks at elections abroad. They either go how they're supposed to, or they are corrected with a little help from their friends and from the government. Tony Schaefer knows something about all that, a retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel, critic of the Biden administration, and he joins us now. Tony, great to have you with us. These reports by NBC News that a group of these organizations, plus members of the Democratic Party, are plotting to actually remove civilian control from the Department of Defense because that's how afraid they are, they say, of President Trump. It's just how much they really want power, isn't it?
It is. And Lou, I wish members of the media would actually, when these things come up and they ask Joe Biden about this, all these folks always say it's a threat to democracy and they're going to remove all safeguards. Like, how are they going to do it? Well, Trump's not going to do it. The very people you're talking about are trying to do it. All of these organizations get seed money from George Soros, and then they go about essentially enriching themselves using taxpayer dollars. They get these grants. They have these fancy names for all these public charities, which simply are focused on trying to undermine the checks and balances of our founding fathers established. So no amount of Donald Trump wanting to correct things is going to result in the removal of the republic. We have a republic, not a democracy. And perhaps, Lou, that's it. Perhaps the fact that Donald Trump understands that we have a republic, not a democracy, is why they keep saying he's a threat to democracy.
You know, I think, Tony, that his understanding goes way beyond that. He understands that we have a corrupt Department of Justice and FBI and military and a corrupt, without a question, corrupt intelligence community. We're looking at the reality that the CIA is playing a role in our elections. We're looking at the reality that so is the NSA, the reality that the FBI, the Department of Justice, changed the outcome of the last election. There is no dispute of the evidence. Bill Barr acknowledging himself that he refused to intervene, even though he knew that the laptop was real, that he knew that Joe Biden was lying. And the list, and 51 intelligence agency veterans claiming it was Russian disinformation. All lies, no consequence, and we go on. And the national media ignores the story and the facts, and then say that if we say those, if we utter those facts, we're election deniers. It's at this point, it's almost impossible to understand how it is that this federal government has given up its integrity. Its men and women in the FBI and the Department of Justice have become so fearful that they're not defending the country. They're defending Joe Biden and the corrupt actors that surround him and permeate our federal government.
Well, that's the thing, Lou. I mean, they have essentially invested in failure. The failure that the American people see every day is actually something that's their policy. And to your point, I think Donald Trump understands in clear and concise terms how dangerous this is to our nation. So I do believe that they're in fear of being removed. You don't have to be a dictator, Lou, to be he's a surgeon, not a dictator. A surgeon's going to go in and understand that you have to basically surgically remove the first three layers of leadership to actually get rid of those who have decided to be loyal to a political party or a cult. I believe anybody who is still with Biden right now at this point, Lou, is part
Marxists.
of a cult. They're Marxists.
Yeah.
And
Tony, they're Marxists.
And
They're Marxists.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, they're Marxists. They're not working for America. They may be pretending to. They may even want to rationalize their actions themselves that way. But these people are aligned around the Marxist Dem Party, their policies, and they're not socialists. They're not progressive. They're Marxists. And we have too many people in this country afraid to say what is true. The truth is, Democrats are Marxists in this country. They vote as Marxists. Their policies are Marxist, and the effect of their decision making, whether in the legislature or whether in the executive, it's Marxist in outcome and also in ideology. And yet we've got so many people trying to dance around that reality. Call somebody a socialist, call them a progressive, a liberal even, but don't call them a Marxist, because that's exactly who they are. And the intelligence community in this country, which you know well, they have failed this country miserably, but worse, they are actually influencing elections and helping the Marxists, weaponize our federal government against the American people. Your thoughts?
So they have, and look, there's no clearer terms than what they're doing right now with this new Green Deal. The new Green Deal, Lou, is meant to be a Marxist canard to actually seize control of power, the means of distribution of power, the actual replacement of working technology with things which have microchips and are controlled by the government. Think about that. This is literally a Marxist dream of having ultimate control over the means of production, means of energy, and controlling thought by the fact that you own the mechanism. That's why we saw the Biden administration go so heavy into trying to get control of Facebook and Twitter and other things. But back to the intelligence community. The very technology that we developed, Lou, during the late 90s, early 2000s, that was supposed to be used against foreign threats. That is to say, no, I'm not, everybody knows I'm a retired spy. During the time that I was we were actually developing some very sophisticated weaponized technology. Never did we who worked on that ever envision those things would be turned on the American people and given benefit to a political party. But that's what's happened.
And why don't people talk honestly about the Kennedy assassination, for example? We saw the president of South Vietnam and his brother assassinated 3 weeks before Kennedy was assassinated. And the issue was the removal of U.S. troops from South Korea. And we know who was behind it. We know it was the CIA. We know it was the intelligence community in conjunction with the military. And that's replicated throughout our history, the 60s, the 70s, and beyond, and to this very day. And yet nobody wants to talk about the transparent and obvious truth that we have a corrupt intelligence community in this country, and now we have a fully corrupt federal government. What are we to do in 1 minute or less?
So, look, you're diagnosing accurately the symptoms of this long expanding disease, where we have essentially a mono party. And I put both parties into this because there's a group that goes up together, Lou. And that's the thing. You've got to break the momentum of this. And I think the Kennedy assassination forward is a great time to kind of measure how the deep state, I call it the deep state, other people call it different things, permanent bureaucracy, have been left to their own devices. The intelligence community seeks out and becomes best friends for whoever's in power. And that ultimate evil alliance between those in power and the intelligence community is what propagates this momentum of what we now see as Marxism. And something has to be broken. And I do believe that this next election cycle, I'm hoping the right guy will be elected to break that cycle.
Yeah, it's the only guy who possibly could. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer. Thank you. Appreciate it, Tony. Up next, Joe Biden has completely turned over our border to the Mexican drug cartels, and no one's whispering a word of protest. No one wants to talk about it. The Mexican drug cartels actually own 2,000 miles of our border between the United States and Mexico. Why is everyone so afraid to just admit the Mexican drug cartels are the ones with operational control? We'll take that up here next. Stay with us.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all My Towels. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com.
No president has done more to attack America's sovereignty than Joe Biden. His complete destruction of our southern border, turning it over to the Mexican drug cartels, not just in effect, but in reality, has so damaged this nation that Democrats are even beginning to turn on Biden on the issue. Biden's campaign co-chair and Delaware Senator Chris Coons admitted on CNN that Democrats are reconsidering a number of their so-called immigration positions.
You think that Democrats, from a policy perspective, what they are willing to entertain, what they're willing to sign off on when it comes to restrictions related to immigration, are in a different place than they were a year, 2 years ago because of what's happened at the border?
Yes, I think there's a willingness to reconsider the initial screening standard for asylum, for example, because so many people are now using the asylum process who ultimately, years later, after a court review, will be deemed ineligible for asylum. That's one of the biggest changes in recent years.
All of this as House Republicans are finalizing their impeachment hearings for Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Those started last week. And according to the New York Times, Republicans plan to bring charges against him by the end of this month. The Marxist media is absolutely ignoring the chaos and the invasion across that border. But one person who certainly isn't is independent journalist James O'Keefe. O'Keefe has been reporting on a top-secret facility for illegal immigrants. He recently shared some of the video that he captured, which shows a bus full of asylum seekers, read illegal immigrants, nearly run his team off the road. Here's part of it.
They won't let the migrants off the bus. We're going to follow that bus all the way to the airport. He's backing up into you. This guy almost backed up into us. Whoa! Whoa, did you get that video? She's blocking traffic.
You have your ID?
I do, but am I being detained?
What you need to do here at the airport?
Calling police on American journalists. They're shutting the door on us here. Sir, why are you blocking the camera?
No discussion.
And now with us is none other than the CEO of O'Keefe Media, James O'Keefe. Jim, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. And remarkable stuff, as usual, by you and your team. This secret facility, what is behind that?
Thanks, Lou, for having me on. There's actually two secret facilities we reported on. One is in Phoenix, just right close to the airport, and it's run by something called the International Rescue Committee. And it's an IR, if you haven't heard of that, it's a left-wing 501c3 nonprofit that gets over $1.4 billion in revenue, and $415 million, Lou, comes from the federal government. It's just on their public tax return. No one's really looked into this. And $150 million comes from Health and Human Services. So I went to the airport just going through Phoenix, and an American Airlines worker tugged on my shirt sleeve and said, James, you really have to report on these buses. So I tracked the buses to the facility, spoke to two workers there. They slammed the door on me, shut the gate on me, cursed me off. And Lou even offered me a bribe, this is on video, to make me not report on it, to make me go away. This is right downtown Phoenix, right next to the airport.
And Phoenix, we might point out, a considerable distance from the border. But the state of Arizona is dealing with that, as every border state is. The penetration of these illegal immigrants that are flooding the country, invading the country, are just simply overwhelming facilities, communities, and there's another part of this too, Jim, and that is that the border is now under the control of all of the Mexican drug cartels in North Mexico. We're looking at also communities in the United States that are under the control of these Mexican drug cartels. What can you tell us about the climate there in terms of the locals, the Americans in that region right now? Whether it be from Phoenix or all the way down to the border to Yuma to Tucson, what you've found?
Yeah, we traced the buses from Phoenix down to a town called Nogales, which is down there right on the southern border. It's a little known town. First of all, I spent the entire weekend in Nogales just last weekend. That's the video we released Wednesday. And man, it is a very spiritually dark place. Now, the organization there, Lou, is a group something called, and you probably have never heard of it. The American people have never heard of this. It's something called Elitas, Alitas, Elitas and Elitas Angels. And funny enough, as I'm sitting here, because I reported on this, I confronted these people. Lou, they were loading people onto buses at the border. Elitas working with the American Red Cross. That was kind of shocking. So just standing there with my iPhone and a microphone, the Red Cross worker attacked the camera and said, "Stop reporting on this. Stop photographing." And I said, "Sir, it's a public street. I'm an American journalist." And he attacked the camera. And another woman with this Elitas facility, this is a nonprofit organization, also 501c3, that occupied a local bank building. And they were loading illegal immigrants on the white bus, which it then would go up to Tucson and go up to Phoenix. These are massive facilities, Lou, in Tucson and Phoenix, where they have thousands of people, many of them military-age males. I didn't see a lot of women and children, but they have a separate facility for children separated from their parents.
Well, Jim, the reality is that these communities are being taken over by the cartels, and no one is reporting it. No one is talking about it. But the reality is, you talked about that dark place. That dark place now extends 2,000 miles across that southern border, a border that Joe Biden refuses to secure, to police, and to defend. And naturally, every vacuum certainly is filled, particularly on that border, and this with the Mexican drug cartels. What is your sense? You talked about military-age men. I mean, that's what we see, video after video, report after report. I've seen it myself. The number of military-age men coming into this country frankly, it looks to me like by the millions, because we're talking 10 to 12 million people into this country. What do you think is behind this particular demographic and the purpose, the reason for them?
What I'm seeing, Lou, it's a money grab. What I'm seeing from my reporting over the last month, and I went there, I embedded myself with these people. I had undercover Mexican citizen journalists as well. And these NGOs, I'm talking about International Rescue and Elitas, make a lot of money transporting these people. So a lot of this is money. And you mentioned the cartel. My sources tell me the cartel is about $10,000 a body. And that's either given from the family overseas in China or Africa or South America. And then you might say that's a lot of money. Well, maybe they can't afford all that. So now they're in debt to these cartel. They're indentured servants. But what I saw was a money grab. A lot of what I saw was just pure greed. The CEO of the CEO of International Rescue, David Miliband, makes over $1 million a year transporting all these people. So it's and think of all the contractors and the bus drivers. Lou, I even interviewed a bus driver in Phoenix. And he said he worked for Jet Limousine. Now, Lou, that guy's actually a conservative guy. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I'm just trying to make money." So it's all about the money. They'll do whatever it takes to make that money, get those contracts. That's what I witnessed. We're talking not millions, billions of dollars going through. It's an industry in trafficking and transporting human beings.
Yeah, money drives the cartels. The cartels drive what happens on that border. Did you see any sign of local law enforcement, the Border Patrol, maybe a stray National Guardsman? Is anyone there to provide security against these illegal immigrants who are being bussed in, every other thing, and then distributed across the country? Any significant presence of American law enforcement, either local, county, or state?
Great question. Actually, 2 points I saw that were fascinating. First, the good news. I did speak to one Border Patrol agent on background, and this guy blew the whistle using his voice encoder on Elon Musk's new platform X, used to be Twitter, coded his voice and spoke live on the radio. And what he told me, Lou, is that 98% of Border Patrol agents hate their jobs and hate their lives, but they do it for the money. Isn't that sad, by the way? They have to do it just to get the paycheck. They're making $120,000 a year, et cetera. But this guy was heroic, and I hope more people follow suit and blow the whistle. In terms of local law enforcement, the local Phoenix police officers probably agreed that it needs to be investigated, and they sort of scattered. They were called to arrest me, and they came and left quickly. And then in Nogales, I saw something quite spiritually dark. The police officers were trying to intimidate me. They were definitely participating, Lou, in the racket down there on the border.
Right. Protecting their business. All right. James O'Keefe, thanks so much. James, very quickly, where people can go to see these videos, aside obviously from Lou Dobbs Tonight, but where can they go to see all that you're revealing on the border?
You can follow us at O'Keefe Media on all social media platforms, and you can donate to our cause, independent journalism. No one tells me what to do or what not to do, at O'Keefe Media Group. That's my last name, OKEEFE mediagroup.com.
James, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Well, President Joe Biden's Justice Department is ignoring real violent criminals, instead focusing on targeting, President Trump supporters who were at the Capitol on January 6th. We'll be telling you all about that straight ahead.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50%, and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com.
Attorney General Merrick Garland told CNN that Donald Trump should get a, quote, speedy trial in the election interference case. That follows Trump's big win in Iowa. And Garland also lamenting the perception that the Justice Department is, deemed by the American public to be out to get President Trump. Now, why in the world would anyone get that idea from our Department of Justice and the FBI and, of course, Mr. Clean himself, Attorney General Merrick Garland? No president in recent times has been subject to such relentless investigation and persecution as Donald Trump. For 8 years now, more than 8 years, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Some people actually like it, but most Americans don't. The American legal scholar Robert George once said that Trump is fortunate in his enemies because they go overboard trying to get him. As a result, they discredit themselves, and that is true. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. It's very real and more dangerous than COVID at this point. The damage people like Garland are doing to our country will not be easily reversed. In some cases, it may in fact be permanent. Last September, a survey by Pew Research Center found that trust in the government has hit a 70-year low. Just 16% of the public now say they trust the federal government. Think about that. Only 16 people out of 100 trust the federal government. That number seems high to me. It's hard to believe any Republicans would feel that way, any independent, any moderate, any reasonable thinking person. All they see right now is the Biden administration using every implement at its disposal to undercut the man who, if the election were held tomorrow, would likely become president of the United States. But it's not just about President Trump. Recall that last year, the House Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government brought to light the fact that the Department of Justice was targeting Catholic organizations. This week, we learned that a bureau of the Treasury Department flagged transactions associated with phrases like Trump or MAGA. Yet Garland can't seem to figure out why most Americans don't trust him or anyone else in the swamp. It's a mystery that may go unsolved. William Wolf knows well how the swamp conspires against America and Americans. He served as director at the Department of State in the Trump administration, Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense at the Pentagon, and he joins us now. William Wolf, good to have you here. I want to start with, this is so much more than just simply the swamp now. This is a political party, the Dems, led by Marxists, the Marxist Dems, and the deep state that are in absolute control of the federal government. Every department, every agency. Do you think I'm wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. I mean, the sad truth is the vast majority of 90% at least or more of our federal bureaucrats, including civil servants and foreign service officers, are Democrat voters. And so the federal government has always been controlled at the bureaucracy level by Democrats. It's just accelerated in its aggression and prosecution and persecution of your average citizen under the Biden administration.
The Biden administration and Merrick Garland, the most corrupt attorney general, in my opinion, in the history of the United States, are demanding prison time for Peter Navarro, special assistant to the president in charge of the trade policy in the White House. Outrageous, because Hunter Biden is walking around free because the Republican Party is a bunch of nice guys. And Peter Navarro looks like he may go to jail for some time for doing exactly the same thing as Hunter Biden. That is, in their judgment, contempt of Congress, when he was simply asserting executive privilege at the request of President Trump.
Yeah, it reminds me of a quote I've heard before when it comes to politics. It's law for my enemies and everything for my friends. And that's exactly how the Biden administration is operating. The hypocrisy is on clear display, particularly in the case of Hunter Biden. And now we know, as we've always known, that his laptop was real and not fake, despite the fact that 51 former national security officials who worked in the national security apparatus within the deep state said it was fake. And so they've covered for Hunter Biden while they've doubled down and prosecuted Donald Trump and his associates, many with illegitimate charges. And they're really trying to send a message, I think, Lou. They're trying to make an example of anybody who would threaten their power so that it doesn't happen again.
Their power is so threatened mightily right now as we head toward next Tuesday. President Trump is running strongly, over 50%. He's widened his lead over Nikki Haley, and he looks to be strong indeed. And I think it's fair to say right now he is the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party. There is no other person I know who is capable of leading this nation to its restoration of its electoral integrity, to its restoration of its energy independence, to the restoration of its economy. This man is the only one I see who has that capacity. Your thoughts?
Well, I absolutely agree. The first 4 years of the Trump administration, from the first Trump administration, hopefully followed by a second here soon, showed that. I mean, I worked in Washington, D.C., lived there during that time around a lot of Democrats and liberals, and they would, about a year into the Trump administration, they'd start whispering about how well their 401ks were doing and how the country was staying out of wars. Trump has an established track record that focuses exclusively, if not primarily, on wonderful economic policy, on securing our border, on reducing crime in this country, on looking out for the middle class and the lower class, which again, this is all against the interests of the rich men north of Richmond that Donald Trump threatens with the MAGA and the more populist movement that's taken root in America right now. And so I trust that if he's able to return to the White House, we'll see renewed American prosperity like we haven't seen under the last 4 years of President Biden.
Yeah, it is a remarkable failure, this administration. It's also a painful failure for millions and millions of Americans. I want to turn to the most recent developments. Suddenly, we're looking at the prospect of war in the Middle East. We're looking at the prospect of war in Indochina, that is, North Korea, China, and Taiwan. The Philippines could also be a flashpoint. But now we're looking at the Middle East, where Iran has decided suddenly to attack Pakistan, a nuclear power. And to the best of our knowledge, that is not the case for Iran. They are not quite there to a nuclear weapon. This is a very dangerous moment. Give us your sense of just how dangerous it is.
Well, the last 3 years under President Biden's administration have seen an escalating series of global conflicts. And it's because there's no steady hand in American leadership right now on the global scale. Under President Donald Trump, we contained Iran. We had an incredibly aggressive policy towards them. We crippled them with sanctions. We cut off their access to financial markets, and we countered all of their criminal and terrorist activities around the Middle Eastern region. But under President Biden, we've unfrozen their assets, allowed money to flow to them, and then through them to the Houthis, escalating conflicts in the region. I don't anticipate that Iran would actually be foolish enough to go to war with Pakistan, particularly given the Pakistanis' nuclear capabilities, but they're certainly not a stable operator at all in the Middle East. And so as we look forward to the choice that we have on the ballot this November, there's nobody else I trust more to keep us out of war in the Middle East with Iran, to keep us out of war with China over Taiwan, and to keep us out of war with Russia over Ukraine than Donald Trump. His foreign policy was the best foreign policy we'd seen from a Republican in decades, and its absence is what's fueled these global conflicts.
Yeah, unquestionably. The Biden regime continues to persist in talking about a two-state solution that it obviously wants to impose on Israel. Netanyahu, to his credit, has said there will be no second state. There will be no state for Palestine. And I think he's exactly right to come back as strong, hard, definitive as he can against this administration, which doesn't have a single official, not Biden himself, not Antony Blinken, not Jake Sullivan, nor any other senior state or national security official who is capable of making judgments about two-state solutions and whether or not the war is winnable by Israel against Hamas. What they look like are abject fools, and unfortunately, there are fools. You're thinking on this administration and how dangerous they themselves are.
Well, the reality is that the Biden administration is staffed on the principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and not on merit, accomplishment, and a seasoned hand in foreign policy affairs. His national security advisor, Jake, is not in any way able to handle these things through a realistic assessment. They're ideologues, and so they're unexperienced ideologues who have this progressive, utopian vision of the world that fails to account for the real politic of very tricky and tense, international situations like we've seen develop in Israel over the last few months here since the Hamas attack into Israel on October 7th. And so I think that, Netanyahu is right to reject the two-state solution. And under President Trump, we fortified our alliance with Israel. We moved the embassy to Jerusalem, and we brokered the Abraham Accords, which have fallen apart now. So you're absolutely right there, Lou. We do not have the people in the national security apparatus who are equipped and competent to handle these challenges right now.
William Wolf, thanks for being with us. Look forward to talking with you soon. Thanks so much for being with us. Well, join us Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central. A physician, biochemist, and original inventor of mRNA and DNA vaccination technologies, Dr. Robert Malone. He joins us to talk about, well, the X virus that we're starting to hear a lot about, and the effort by the Biden administration to subordinate the Centers for Disease Control to the United Nations agency, the World Health Organization. Now that is quite a little proposal. We'll take all of that up. Please be with us. Mike Lindell's show is next, and Mike has lots of surprises and great news for you, and even a few things you might want to buy. Good night. God bless you.
You're watching Lindell TV.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com. A report, bringing you news combined with hope by offering practical and achievable action points to assist you in defending and preserving faith and freedoms. And now, here is your host, Mike Lindell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lindell Report. We won't have Brandon tonight. He's out. He's busy. He's got another thing that he has going on right now. So I'm going to do this unscripted. I didn't have time today. I've been busy all day with a lot of stuff going on. We got the Iowa caucus going on, and you all heard that I was canceled by Fox News, or My Pillow was. So I want to give the first thing I want to do is give everybody an update on that. First of all, it has they changed the narrative last Friday. They changed it. I'm the one that went out and made it public, because on Wednesday when we went to film, we went to give Fox a commercial. My media, the same media company I went through for over 10 years now, would approach them with a creative that we wanted to test, and they wouldn't even accept our money. So we knew then there's something going on, that it's a cancellation. And so we were well within our credit limits. Has nothing to do with that, with money. And we don't know what their reasons are yet. We can only assume that maybe it was because Lou, who we all just got done watching, Lou Dobbs here on Lindell TV, he came over a week ago, and his first interview was with our great real president, Donald Trump. Now, we had huge ratings. We have over 3 million people over here at Lindell TV and Frank's Speech, and maybe they thought, we've had enough. We're not going to have Mike Lindell in his commercials on My Pillow. The other thing I could think of is, Zuckerbuck did this at Facebook before the 2020 election, where Facebook actually told us I couldn't even be in my own commercials because I was too branded with Donald Trump. And we're going, what? It's like, I'm in every commercial. Well, in order for us to advertise on Facebook before that 2020 election, they said it was political. We had to pull my face out. We had to just do My Pillow commercials without myself being in them or my face being on it. So I don't know if Fox with the caucus today, And